In our today's class, we would discuss Indian economy and its basic concepts. And what is economy, inflation, monetary policy, fiscal policy, sectors in Indian economy, and higher topics. So, economy is the important part in UPSC. In prelims, the major topics are economic growth and development. Second is poverty. Third, inclusion. Fourth, demographics. Five, fiscal policy. Sixth, social issues. Seven, contemporary economic topics. So when we discuss mains, the main topics are planning, type of resources, development and growth, employment, inclusive growth and issues arising out of it, government budgeting, land reforms in India, effects of liberalization on the economy. So, mains is important when we even start the preparation as it is counted in final merit. So, economics it is how to produce, distribute, and consume goods, services using finite and scarce resources. Economy is economics of a particular unit. Types of economy: socialist, capitalist, mixed economy. Microeconomy is decision making of individual entity. Macroeconomy behavior of aggregates. GDP is monetary value of all goods and services produced in a country in a year. NDP is GDP depreciation. GNP, NNP, Green GNP is GNP natural resources. So when we see the difference between microeconomics and macroeconomics, so the microeconomics studies the individual unit, macroeconomics studies the whole economy or large groups. Microeconomics studies laws related to marginal analysis are included in its scope, and so the macro has problem of whole economy like employment, public finance, and national income, etc. See other differences also. Next we move to the next topic, that is inflation, and it can be defined as a rise in the general level of prices of goods and services in an economy over a period of time. So that's what is inflation. And next we move to in common opinion about inflation is that it is bad because it reduces the purchasing power of people and lowers the overall standard of living by making goods and services more expensive. So inflation is has pro and cons. So do study them. So what are the measures of inflation? First is CPI. It measures change in retail prices measured by CSO. Number of items 100, goods and services, base year 2012. Types: CPI rural, CPI urban, CPI combined, rural plus urban. And WPI, it measures changes in wholesale prices measured by OEA. DIPP, number of items included 697 goods only, and the base year is 2011-12. So these are the methods of measuring inflation. And some factors that affect inflationary pressures, like rising property prices leads to increased consumer wealth and demand pull inflation risk. Like if world oil prices increase, then there is higher cost for businesses, and this is cost push inflation risk. And if there is depreciation in exchange rate, then increased import prices plus rising exports. So that is cost push and demand pull inflation risk. And next is rapid expansion of money and credit from banks that leads to rising consumer spending financed by loans. It is demand pull inflation risk. So what are the causes? And so increase in profits of firms, increase in money supply by the RBI, increase in government expenditure, increase in wages, increase in prices of raw materials, increase in import prices like crude oil. So inflation is one very important, and their recent figures of measures like GDP, GNP, inflation, that you have to be well conversant with. And what is adverse effect? It has adverse effect on production, adverse effect on distribution of income. It is also obstacle to development, and it brings in changes in relative prices, and it has adverse effect on balance of payments, BOP. So inflation has a lot of negative impacts. How do inflation is controlled? First, by monetary policy. It is like credit control, demonetization of currency, issues of new currency. Second, fiscal policy, reduction in unnecessary expenditure, increase in taxes, increase in savings, surplus budgets, public debt. Three, other measures to increase production, rational wage policy, price control. So the national income, next, accounting national income, it has wide applications and serve as an effective tool of analysis. National income accounts are extremely useful in estimating national income of the country, comparing national income of different countries, describing and explaining the level of economic growth of a country, estimating the contribution of each factor of production in the national income, estimating the contribution of each sector, and various other features. So the national income includes GDP, GNP, GNI. GDP further includes NDP, NNP. GNP includes NNP, GNI includes NNI. What does they mean and what is their measures? So we will discuss them as we go along. So if you can structure your mains answer with good tables and diagrams, it is very important to make it appealing. So GDP is factor payments to foreigners plus factors payments from foreigners GNP is gross national product, that is minus capital consumption allowance. NNP, net national product, minus indirect business taxes, national income plus transfers, minus direct taxes, income, personal property, etc., disposable personal income. So these are the bit of the explanation. So in budget there are two major portion. One is receipts, second is expenditure. In receipts there are two bifurcations: revenue receipts and capital receipts. In expenditure there are two parts: revenue expenditure and capital expenditure. So this is a brief explanation of budget. So public finance and its role in market economy. What are the impact? It impact the public revenue, it showcases the public expenditure, public departments, fiscal policy, and financial administration. So these are all interrelated to one another. When economy of a country and public finance and national income accounting is done, it's a comprehensive process that includes several aspects. And next, if we see the meaning of public finance, it is the study of public finance as a branch of economics has come to occupy a very important place in economic literature since last 9 decades. Up to the end of 19th century, general view held by the economists was that the main function of the state were to defend the country against foreign aggression and to maintain law and order at home. The state was not supposed to interfere in the economic activities of the people relating to production, exchange, distribution, and now development of a welfare state. So you can read that. So there are various types of taxes that it falls under three major categories, that is direct tax, indirect tax, and other tax. So do read them in taxation in the country. What are the different types of tax? Indirect tax, it is the income tax, wealth tax, gift tax, capital gains tax. In indirect tax there is value added tax, octroi tax, service tax, customs duty. So this is a basic structure of taxation in India or in any other mostly countries. And if we also see, like India has another structure of central tax and state tax. Central tax includes excise duty, service tax, ADE, surcharge, cess, CVD, and SCD. State tax has VAT, CST, purchase tax, luxury tax, surcharge, cess, entry tax. So this is has a few nomenclature changes since the introduction of new taxation system, especially after GST. So in direct tax, person pays tax from own pocket, example income tax. And in indirect tax, person collects tax from customer pay and then pays to government. Example, earlier it was called VAT, service tax, excise, customs, etc. Now the one single term of GST has been used. So Indian taxation system has undergone a huge reform after the introduction of goods and services tax GST. So let's discuss GST, types of GST in India, CGST, SGST and IGST. CGST is central CGST or CGST that is collected by the central government. SGST is state GST or CGST that is collected by the state government. IGST IGST or integrated GST that is collected by the central government. So these are the types of GST. So there are three taxes applicable under this system. Again, we discuss CGST, SGST and IGST. First, CGST collected by the central government on the intrastate sale, for example, transaction happening within Maharashtra. Second, SGST collected by the state government on intrastate sale, example, transaction happening within Maharashtra. IGST is collected by the central government from interstate sale, example, Maharashtra to Tamil Nadu. And have a nice day. Keep up the great